This is The Daily Rule. I'm your host, Bryce Prescott, and welcome to your insider access to the mindset, skill sets, and habits of the truly successful. These rules of success are short 10 to 15-minute messages, making it easy to consume and share for maximum impact. Here's today's Daily Rule. Hello, my friends. Welcome back. It is another episode of The Daily Rule. I naturally am your host, Bryce Prescott. Thank you for joining me. Just a couple of real quick things. If you're by chance watching this on the Facebook live stream, please feel free to share, give me some reactions, do the hearts, all that stuff. Comment. I will be going back after the fact and responding to all the comments. I'm looking to have this be more engaging. If you're listening to this on the audio version of the podcast, I would ask the same things. Please keep this conversation going. Help me to share this message, get it in as many ears as possible. I'm very passionate about what we're doing here at The Daily Rule, building a foundational basis of information so that you can then build mindsets, skill sets, and habits that actually help you to go forward into the world. Today's rule is this. It's along the lines of something that one of my mentors, T. Harv Eker, teaches. It's in his book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I've done a bunch of stuff here on this podcast from that book, and truth be told, I will probably continue to do stuff from that book just because it's so foundationally awesome. If you can attach yourself to the principles that are taught in that book and apply them and live them, sky's the limit. It's actually the seed, that book and two other books, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles and Conversations with God by Neale Donald Walsch. Those three books are basically the seeds to which planted in my proverbial garden. That sounds weird. That have helped me to grow to the belief structure and system that I have that works as far as like taking your thoughts, allowing yourself to work through conditioning that isn't supportive, choosing a new belief, knowing that you're worthy, then taking action, allowing inspiration to come, and being a part of and designing your own life and results. Today, I wanted to talk about how important it is to consistently and constantly be growing, be learning. Apply to yourself the identity of being continually educated. One of my good friends is somebody I've spoken to you about on this podcast, John Matson. He has a very successful coaching business. He has a podcast called The Show with John Matson. I'm a part of the executive production of that show, so I feel proud of how successful it's become. Him and I were discussing some things recently, and we were talking about how when you think you know what you're doing and you're not getting the result that you want, we naturally flip that and look back at ourselves like, well, what am I doing wrong? We faithfully believe in the teachings and the preachings and the information that's given to us by people that we trust. And when the results don't come from doing what they tell us we should do or encourage us to do, is a better way to describe it, we then look at it as us. And I would like to have you consider that very well may be the case. There may be a lack of excellence in our execution that is not making it so that we're achieving the results that are intended by what we've been learning. But I'd also like to encourage you to continue to learn. Always put yourself in a position to be learning. Sometimes it's not that you don't have the right drive or the right commitment. It's that you're implementing the wrong stuff. See, one of the things about transformation and taking yourself from point A to point B in this world is that it's a different path for everybody. Sure, there are foundational things that are truths for all of us. I call those sponsoring thoughts, sponsoring truths. They're things that it doesn't matter who applies them, they work. But then there's certain aspects of execution, of strategy, of just the way to navigate that are individual to the person. And by understanding how that works for you and applying different things for you can be the difference. And so sometimes the only way to really get to that point of our understanding is to continue to learn, to receive different perspectives, to be looking at things from different angles. I just shared with you that, the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker is one of my favorite books. I've also shared with you that I'm all over the place here. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles is another. Those two books complement each other very nicely, but they do not say the same thing. In a way, Harv's book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, is a lot more real world. It's less heady. It's less, what's the description? It's less metaphysical and more practical. Well, a lot of times for me anyway, I find that I have to balance the metaphysical with the practical. If I'm thinking, okay, so from a metaphysical standpoint, my thoughts matter, choosing my thoughts matter. I'm choosing to look at that point into the future, and to get to that point, that's my clear vision. That's what I want. That's my goal. Okay, now what? Then I filled in the blanks with information from Harv about how to practically apply those things in my life. Another thing that Harv describes that is right in line with this commitment and new identity of being somebody that's always being educated is understanding the difference between inner world principles and outer world principles. Knowing that you're worthy of success and being successful is completely different than having success-based skill sets, knowing how to, for example, buy real estate, knowing how to run a business, knowing how to create a championship culture within your team. Those things are application principles. And so when you commit to always be learning, always picking up a book, always doing the things that you need so that you're filling your head with the right information, you're putting yourself in a better position to actually succeed. Now, I will say this, there's a line where that becomes a drug. It becomes a form of sedation. It becomes, instead of picking up a drink or doing a hit of weed or logging into Pornhub, you're doing too much information. You're avoiding the work by continuing to consume new information, continually to put that stuff in there. Now, like I said, there's a balance there. When you find yourself sedating, it means there's work that needs to be done that you haven't been willing to do. And that does include even things that from the outside are healthy. You can work out too much. You can focus on positive things too much. There comes a point where you have to take that information, you have to apply it, and you have to then take the results of that application and that execution and course correct and get going to a different direction. That's why I'm bringing this up. Always be learning. Always be reading. Always be allowing yourself to access to that information and then take action. I think this is a simple one today, guys. I'm just going to have it be that. There's a difference between the successful and the unsuccessful. The successful are always questioning. They don't ever think that they have all of the answers, but they have confidence that they can find out what the answer is. Unsuccessful people have predetermined that they've already got it figured out and it just isn't working. And there's an arrogance associated with how they know, even though somebody else might be experiencing a result of success and they're not. I've got it. This just isn't going to work. That's a bunch of BS. I remember when there was a period of my life where I ran an equity fund for real estate. And over the course of about 4 years, we did close to 8,000 transactions with residential real estate. This was after the crash happened in 2008. It was 4 of the most lucrative years of my life when it comes to finances. And about a year in, my partner and I had created this model that allowed us to buy homes that were post-foreclosure homes. The bank had already foreclosed on them, take them off the bank's books, do a system where we were then able to use seller financed paper. Basically, we became the bank, and we were able to put people back in these homes for profit, and it created a massive amount of income and profit and opportunity for the people that were being able to move into these homes. My income and riches, basically, I couldn't hide. I moved into an 11,000 square foot home. I had a bunch of cars and nice things. You've heard me talk about this. It's not important to go into the further details of that. But I had an old friend of mine that I ran into. And this friend was a very conservative financial planner. And he asked me what I was doing and how he was standing in the lobby of my 11,000 square foot home. We're having this conversation. There's marble pillars on the floor, grandiose chandelier, vistas overlooking the valley, swimming pool, terrace in the back, huge driveway. And he's asking me what I did to do that, to earn this money, to be put in this position. And I told him. And in the midst of being in the center of the results that I had created, he's saying, "Yeah, that doesn't work, man. That's not how the system is. The banks would never let you buy it for that much money. You would never be able to do this. And I'm looking at the guy and looking around going, I'm doing it. How are you going to tell me it can't be done when I'm doing it and you're standing in the fruits of it? My point is, always put yourself in a position to buck the things you think you already know. Always be learning, always be growing. What you want is on the other side of all of those things. Sometimes when we put out our clear intention into the universe, we have to learn something in order to be able to grow to the level of person that it requires to handle that thing that we're shooting for. I've experienced this in my comedy career. I have grandiose dreams, Netflix special, touring, rich, famous comedian, the whole thing. And I also understand that in order to be that, there's things on a personal level that I have to master and perfect when it comes to handling interaction in the public, handling haters, people not thinking I'm funny. I have to grow in my chops as a comic, and the only way that I do that is to continually practice and put myself in a risky position to be rejected and fail. And then when I succeed, take the notes. When I fail, take the notes. Always be learning, always be growing. That's putting me in the position to be ready to be able to achieve that. But how I've arrived at that is I'm continually questioning what my next step is. I have the vision of where I want to go in the future, but the step now, I'm continually learning, continually growing. That is my encouragement to you. Take upon yourself the identity of a continuous learner. You're always being educated. You're always putting yourself in a position to learn. I think, my friends, that's today's episode. I want you a part of my Daily Rule Facebook group. Please go to the link in the show notes or below if you're watching this on YouTube or the live stream. From that point then, go to applythescience.com if you want to check out some opportunities to be associated with me and my coaching and possibly helping you in an executive level with your mindset. And on top of that, you know the drill. Love your life, live out loud. And like I always say, until next time, take it a day at a time. I'm out. Thank you for joining me for another episode of The Daily Rule. If you'd like assistance applying today's rule to your life, I invite you to click the link in the show notes and download my free assessment tool, The 3 Methods, that helps you to know exactly where you should focus your attention for the quickest transformation. As you're aware, the opportunities to be coached directly by me are limited, but if you'd like to see if you're a fit for us to transform your performance and your mindset together, making your life exactly what you've always hoped it would be, reach out to me at bryce@rulesofsuccess.com. Also, if today's episode resonated with you, I ask that you please head to iTunes and leave me a 5-star rating and review. That link is also in the show notes. Thanks again for joining me for The Daily Rule.